Red Bull Racing, once the dominant force on the grid, is now facing serious struggles. In the 2025 season, Max Verstappen continues to put in strong performances and occasionally fights for podiums and even wins. This is your go-to channel for the fastest updates in Formula One, and we have 3 hot stories for you. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay ahead of the pack. Let's get started, everyone. We're approaching race week, and the excitement is already building for the Canadian Grand Prix. But even before the cars hit the track in Montreal, the F1 world is buzzing. As a team, Red Bull has lost its speed and consistency, and things don't appear to be improving anytime soon. Verstappen has stated unequivocally that his performance depends more on his own skills than the capability of the vehicle. Despite a number of upgrades this year, some of which were deemed significant, Red Bull has failed to close the gap to McLaren. The RB20 simply hasn't delivered the performance and boost the team hoped for at the moment. His teammate Yuki Tsunoda is still far behind the pace, and both drivers agree that the issue isn't them, but the machinery. According to a Speedweek article, Red Bull has decided not to make any significant changes to the car for the remainder of the 2025 season. This means that Verstappen and Tsunoda will continue to drive the same car, with perhaps a few minor adjustments, until the final race of the year. From a performance standpoint, this effectively means that Red Bull is throwing in the towel on 2025. Internally, the team is already shifting resources, money, and focus toward their 2026 challenger because the 2026 regulations will usher in a new era. And with this season coming to an end, the team sees little benefit in continuing to chase shadows. Team advisor Helmut Marko didn't mince words. In a recent interview, he admitted that beating McLaren has become almost impossible. He explained that the only way Red Bull can get close to the McLarens of Norris and Piastri is if everything goes perfectly for them. Across the weekend, every pit stop, every strategy call, every detail must align, and even then it's not guaranteed. The margin for error is razor thin. According to Marko, even having a perfect driver, like Verstappen, isn't enough if tire degradation or strategy is even slightly off. That's how strong McLaren is right now. As Red Bull shifts its gaze to 2026, it raises an even bigger question. How will Max Verstappen respond to this? While he's been loyal to the team and remains its star, Verstappen has never hidden the fact that he races to win. He wants a competitive car, not just one that occasionally makes the podium, but one that can consistently fight for victories and titles. And here's where things get even more interesting. Rumors are swirling in the paddock that Verstappen may be starting to consider his options. Some insiders suggest that he could begin talks with other teams as early as mid-season. If those discussions lead somewhere promising, he might delay any public announcement until the season concludes. But behind the scenes, the wheels could already be turning. For now, there's no official word from Verstappen or his camp, but the idea of Red Bull shifting its entire focus away from 2025, essentially giving up on the current championship, could easily be seen as a red flag by a driver with championship ambitions. Will he be patient enough to wait for 2026, or could he be tempted by another project, offering a more immediate shot at glory? The grid is more congested than it has been in years, and the right driver and the right car might tip the scales. So teams like Mercedes, Ferrari, and even McLaren may be keeping a close eye on the situation and prepared to act if Verstappen becomes available. Verstappen is aware of his worth, and one of the largest upheavals in modern Formula One history may occur if Red Bull is unable to match his desire for achievement. Filip Drugovich is back in the spotlight as speculation grows about whether he will have the chance to compete in the Canadian Grand Prix, contingent on the health of Aston Martin driver Lance Stroll. The Brazilian, who is currently training for the prestigious 24 Hours of Le Mans, has made it clear that Formula One is still his top priority and that he will forego his scheduled endurance race commitment if called upon to replace Stroll in Montreal in order to take advantage of the chance to make his debut in the top motorsport division. This statement from Drugovich comes amid growing speculation over who might replace Stroll should the Canadian driver not recover in time. Following his recent wrist surgery, the operation was necessary due to discomfort and complications stemming from a previous injury. Although initial reports suggested a timely recovery was possible, concerns remain over whether Stroll will pass the medical assessments required for participation in next weekend's Grand Prix. Amid this uncertainty, several names have emerged as potential stand-ins, including experienced drivers like Valtteri Bottas, who was linked to the role due to the close technical partnership between Aston Martin and Mercedes. Other speculative suggestions also circulated within the paddock and among F1 insiders, however. In a decisive move to end these rumors, Filip Drugovich asserted during a media interaction that he is the team's only designated substitute driver for the Canadian Grand Prix. According to Drugovich, no other drivers are being considered by Aston Martin to replace Lance Stroll. While he did not elaborate in detail about why he can speak with such certainty, sources have previously indicated that his contract with the team includes a clause that grants him priority as a replacement driver. In the event of an absence from one of the primary drivers, this clause may compel the team to call on Drugovich before considering external options, ensuring the Brazilian is first in line to step into the cockpit if required. This confirmation not only strengthens Drugovich's position within the team but also excites Brazilian fans who have long awaited his debut in Formula One. Drugovich has been associated with Aston Martin since 2022 when he was crowned Formula 2 champion, and he has since participated in several practice sessions, simulator programs, and team development roles. Despite his growing presence in the F1 environment, the chance to race in an official Grand Prix has remained just out of reach. Until now, as the week progresses, all eyes will be on Aston Martin to issue an official update on Lance Stroll's condition. Should the Canadian driver be deemed unfit to race, it will trigger the contractual obligations that could see become the first Brazilian driver to start a Formula One race. Since 2017, it would be a landmark moment, not just for the driver himself, but for Brazilian motorsport as a whole, rekindling the hopes of a nation with a rich legacy in Formula One. Regardless of the outcome, Drugovich's firm stance signals his readiness and determination. The young Brazilian has shown time and again that he possesses the poise and professionalism expected at the elite level of racing, balancing preparation for Le Mans while staying on standby for a possible F1 debut. Underscores his versatility and commitment. The coming days will provide clarity on Stroll's condition, but one thing is now certain: if an opportunity opens up, Filip Drugovich is not just willing, he is contractually prepared and fully committed to stepping in. That alone sends a strong message about his standing within the team and his readiness to make a mark on the biggest stage in motorsport. Hey there, Formula One fans, it's race week once again, and this time all eyes turn to Montreal for the highly anticipated Canadian Grand Prix. Known for its unpredictability, variable weather, and dramatic moments, the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve has delivered thrilling races over the years. As the 2025 season heats up, several teams are locked in a tight battle in both championships, and among them, Red Bull Racing finds itself in an unfamiliar and challenging position. Just a year ago, Red Bull was the dominant force, leading the field with seemingly unshakable authority, but this season tells a different story. While rivals like McLaren, Ferrari, and even Mercedes have shown marked improvement, Red Bull appears to be struggling to evolve. Despite continuous development efforts and internal reassurances, performance gains have been minimal. McLaren has taken full advantage of this opportunity, building a lead in the Constructors' Championship and putting serious distance between themselves and the former champions. Red Bull currently sits in fourth place in the standings, trailing McLaren, Ferrari, and Mercedes, with 144 points on the board, most of which were scored by Max Verstappen. The team now finds itself 28 points behind McLaren. This deficit is significant, particularly in a season where competition is fiercer than ever, and consistency is vital for a team used to dominating. This is a sobering reality. In a recent and candid statement, Red Bull's longtime advisor, Helmut Marko, made headlines by declaring that the team has effectively given up on winning the Constructors' title this season. According to Marko, Red Bull's current position isn't due to a lack of effort or car development. It's the result of their second driver not performing at the expected level. He pointed directly to Yuki Tsunoda, who has scored only 1 point across the last 3 races, as the key factor in their fading title hopes. Marko emphasized that while Verstappen continues to deliver high-level performances, one driver alone is not enough. In the current F1 landscape, success in the Constructors' Championship requires both seats to be scoring consistently. Unfortunately for Red Bull, Tsunoda's lack of competitiveness has left a gap too wide for Verstappen to cover on his own. Marko's comments reflect a growing frustration within the team, and perhaps a broader acknowledgement that changes may be needed. If Red Bull wants to return to the top, these remarks also raise questions about Tsunoda's future within the team. While he has had moments of brilliance in past seasons, inconsistency continues to define his career. The pressure is mounting, and Red Bull is known for making tough decisions when results don't meet expectations. Whether Tsunoda can bounce back and prove his worth remains to be seen, but the scrutiny is intensifying. As the season progresses, there's also the broader strategic implication of Marko's statement. By publicly admitting that the title is likely out of reach, Red Bull might begin shifting its focus toward the 2026 season, especially with significant regulation changes on the horizon. This would involve redirecting resources, testing new components, and perhaps even experimenting with different setups or drivers in preparation for the long term. Red Bull's fall from dominance is a stark reminder of how quickly the balance of power can shift. In Formula One, teams must constantly adapt, evolve, and improve just to keep pace. Standing still even for a moment can mean losing ground rapidly. McLaren's rise is a testament to this dynamic, and now it's Red Bull's turn to respond.